Hello, one and all. Good morning, and welcome back to the video and audio roundup for Man vs Fat Swansea, week 11 of season 4. You can see on screen there the recipient of our bonus goals. Orange is back in force, not just with the attendance, but are the track most team of the week, the trackingest most team of the week. Hats off to Callum, Scotty Mayo, and everyone there doing such a superb job pushing that team to still be in contention for that Scales League come the end of the season. Still got 6 teams who could potentially win the Scales League. Only 3 weeks left, 6 points up for grabs. 6 teams could potentially be walking away with the Scales medal. Superb to see. White's topping the team loss this week, supported by Carl Lewis, 10.72% of his body weight shifted just this season, hitting a milestone. Some other big losses on that team. Lee hitting a milestone. Craig Bowles with a massive loss. Dan Griff with a huge loss. Culminated in 7.4 kilos shifted for the team. Blues out there streaking ahead now as the guys with the most rumble competitors still left in. Attendance great. Pitch goals and Scales goals. Massive disparity between those two. Pitch goals very low this week. Scales goals always up there in the 60s and 70s. Is what it's all about. Team losses there. You can see Whites, Yellows, Purples, all done really, really well. Weekly club loss picked up from last week. We're now 316 kilos lost as a club. Got 3 weeks to go. Can we push to get that 350 kilo mark lost in a season as a club? Be brilliant. As mentioned, Craig Bowles, 4.9 kilos shifted. He's been waiting a couple of weeks now for things to click and things to fall into place. Trying to get his head in gear. Been attending more, been getting himself more involved. It's been brilliant to see him each week. He's such a fantastic guy, such a lovely lad, brilliant player on the pitch as well. Things clicked for him this week. This was the week for him. 4.9 kilos shifted. 5 kilos, 2.2, you double that. You're about 11 pounds shifted there. 10.5, 11 pounds shifted. Phenomenal from him. Followed very closely by Mr. Barder. 3.4 kilos shifted and his 5% picked up. Fantastic. 8 out of 9 weeks lost for Joel. A superb journey. Such a lovely guy. Carl Bamford, his first week of a weight loss, registered with us last week. His first week, 2.8 kilos shifted. Massive, massive well done to him. CJ Richards still plugging away, 2.7 kilos. It cannot be understated just what a huge loss that is. Well done, CJ. And Butty, 1.9 kilos shifting, who picked up his 5% as well. Guys tying big losses and hat-tricks with hitting their 5% and their other milestones. Ryan Hawkins picked up his 5% and hit a hat-trick, scoring 4 goals for the Blues just on his own. Superb from him. Lee Oates, 10%. Well done, mate. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. Your journey is one of my personal favourites. Your attitude each week is just so refreshing, really humbling. I wish I had been as assured and open to advice and feedback and suggestions as you are when I was in the middle of my journey. You are just so absorbent of everything around you, the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience of the guys around you. You take it all on board and you're not afraid to make changes. You're not afraid to try new things, and everything's just working for you, mate. It's superb. And then the 15% brothers, Carl and Kyle, Mayo and Lewis. What more can you say about these guys? Mayo's been with us since day dot. He's a league original. He's a league veteran. He's experienced every single season with us so far. He's plugged away for his 5%, plugged away for his 10%. He's one of the most inspirational guys we've got in camp. Is very often the guy who will post a message or a video in the league-wide chat group that now contains over 100 guys, that sparks a lot of other people following his trend and taking his advice. Generates a lot of other guys getting out there, going for runs or making changes in their diets. Very often we hear that Mayo was the guy that started that snowball rolling downhill for other boys. He's an inspiration, and it's an absolute pleasure to see him walk up to those scales and smash his 15%. Well done to him. Carl Lewis, been unstoppable this season. Been absolutely unstoppable. Lost pretty much every single week. I think every week. He's one of the only 2 or 3 guys to have lost every single week in an 11-week season so far. 15%, just unreal. Superb progress from him. Moving on to the results then. This is always my favourite screen because it always tells the story of MvFat scales. We are MvFat football, of course we are. It's what attracts everyone here. We wouldn't come if this was MvFat tiddlywinks. But it's the scales that make all the difference. Mayo himself said it this week, but I think a lot of you boys have noticed it. As we've got into the second half of the season, a lot of the teams have gelled on the pitch. A lot of fitness has improved. A lot of teams have lost a lot of weight. We've got 8 pretty evenly matched footballing teams now. There may be 1 or 2 a slight level above the others when everyone's there, fit and healthy. But in the main, we have 8 teams that are competitive and anyone could beat anyone on the pitch. It is all down to the scales. And you look at these results this week. Blues versus Oranges, the team who won on the scales won overall. Helped massively by that huge milestone and a hat-trick from Ryan Hawkins. Without his contribution, without what he gave to his team, that would have been 10-9 to the Blues, a very narrow win. His milestone and his hat-trick hit makes it look far more handsome. But again, this team who won on the scales won overall. You look at the Reds versus the Blacks, Thin It to Win It versus Scranra. The team who won on the scales won it overall. They actually lost on the pitch. But they won it on the scales and they won overall. It also highlights the importance of attendance through no fault of their own. It just happens sometimes you can't fulfill a team of 7 and you've only got 6 and you have to borrow. For anyone who doesn't know, we do have a rule in place where each borrow that you take from another team costs you 2 goals. That unfortunately happened to Scranra this week. Again, no judgment on their team. They've been superb. They've had a fantastic season and I know they've got an amazing spirit in camp. It's just one of those weeks where they just happened to be really low on numbers, had to borrow. They got hit with the -2 goals penalty for that lower attendance, and lo and behold, they lost by a goal. That shows the importance of attendance. That shows the importance of guys getting themselves down and joining in. Had they had one more guy turn up, not to make anybody feel guilty, just trying to make the point, they would have won 12-11. As it is, Thin It to Win It turned it around on the scales. They lost by 2 goals on the pitch, but they won by 3 goals on the scales, turned it around and won by 1 goal. Absolutely superb from them. Well done to them. Again, match below that, Marco Banfastin went out there and they lost on the pitch to the Greens. A superb game. I wish I could have seen that in person. But they won on the scales. The team who won on the scales won overall. Helped massively by huge loss from Craig Bowles, Dan Griff, BMI boss, and 2 massive milestones from Lee and Kyle. Without those 2 milestones, without that 15% from Kyle and that 10% from Lee, that would have been a 12-11 win for the Bolts. Whites would have lost. This is the importance of attendance, the importance of milestones. It's why they're coveted. It's why we push them. It's why we celebrate them, because they're what makes this league so much different than just your regular kickabout. And then you've got Sporting Beergut versus Fatastuta, the only match of the night where the team who won on the pitch won overall. But then you can see it was tied overall, 6-all on the scales. Sporting Beergut actually had a phenomenal week on the scales because they didn't have a milestone compared to Fatastuta, who had Joel hit his 5%, but they still managed to equal the scales result because they had 4 guys hit hat-tricks. It's an extra goal for a hat-trick, so that's an extra 4 goals they scored to match the 3 goals that Joel scored on his own. So, yeah, that looks like it was one on the pitch, and yeah, technically it was, but don't take away from the fact that Sporting Beergut still had a phenomenal week on the scales themselves. And the final screen, you've all seen it, I've already shared the slide, but we are down to just 14 guys. 22 last week, we lost another 8 this week, we're down to just 14 guys left. Well done to the Blues for still having 4 out of 11 guys in the Rumble, fantastic. You've got Howell there, the sole remaining survivor from Scranra, Callum, the sole remaining survivor from the Flying Dutchman. We've got a couple of reds, couple of whites, couple of purples, couple of greens. I've just noticed Corey and Butty. Their green boxes are slightly out of line. That does bug me. Anyway, a couple of guys there like Corey got themselves back in. They activated their second life. We've got, I estimate, maybe 3 or 4 guys pending re-entry. Are they to lose next week? They may activate their second life, so that number could potentially go up. But we're looking at 14 guys left, 3 weeks to go. How many of them are going to be in at the end of it? I've had a couple of questions of, does every single guy there score 5 goals for his team? Yes. Yes, he absolutely does. If this was week 14, and this is how we ended it right now, Purples would be getting 10 goals, Blues would be getting 20 goals, Greens would be getting 10 goals, etc. Yes, every single guy left there, week 14, the end of the season, will score 5 goals for their team. And if it ends up being the fact that Blues on week 14 beat somebody because they scored 20 bonus goals for still having 4 guys left in the Rumble, so be it. That's the point of this competition, and hats off to them for still having 4 guys left in a week loss, a weekly consistency loss competition for 14 weeks in a row. That's the point of this. Yeah, lovely. Cheers, guys. Great week. Have a lovely rest of your week and a weekend. We shall see you next Tuesday. Thank you, guys.